Hey guys, welcome. A few days ago, I made a video called A Shift of Power, in which I tested the rebalanced weapon penetration value regarding the Aries Ion as well as the Aries Inferno, and tested the combat effectiveness shift caused by those penetration value change. But guess what? CIG just changed the Aries Inferno again in the latest 4.9 PTU patch. And now the power is shifting again. So here comes this video, A Shift of Power Part 2. Here is what they did to the Aries Inferno. Actually, to be more correct, here is what they did to the ballistic Gatling gun on the Aries Inferno. First change is regarding the alpha damage. Previously, the alpha damage for the Aries Inferno is 292, but they increased its alpha damage to 540, increased by 85%. This is absolutely no doubt a big buff for this gun. However, to rebalance this, not making this ship way too powerful, they also reduced the rounds per minute. Previously is 900 rounds per minute. So 900 rounds per minute, it fires like this. This is the 4.8.3 live patch. You can see the rate of fire is extremely high. Like that. However, in the 4.9, they reduced it to 480 rounds per minute, reduced by almost 50%. This is a 4.9 PTU. Take a look at this. It's a significant difference that the rounds per minute has been reduced by half. However, the bullet speed is not reduced, just the alpha damage and the rounds per minute. Now, with one buff and one nerf, the DPS damage per second suffered just a little bit, reduced by 1%, from 4,380 to 4,320. So even though the DPS has not been changed much, in order not to make this gun overpowered, however, with the alpha damage change, this gun and this ship is going to be a lot more effective. The rule is this: the higher the alpha damage, the more ship that we can damage its armor and the hull. For example, the RSI Polaris. Well, the Polaris, even with this 540 alpha damage, the armor can still deflect the damage from the Aries Inferno. But look at these numbers, especially this one. So with ballistic weapons, the calculation is more complex because the shield will block certain percentage of the ballistic weapon. And for the majority of the cases, the shield will take 182.3 hit points, but 222.8 hit points will bleed through and hit the armor of the ship. So 222. If we change to for example, the Scorpius, then 222 is more than enough to go through the physical deflection threshold of the Scorpius. If we choose the Origin 600i, the 600i has a physical deflection threshold of 315, so not able to penetrate through. Starlancer Tech 347, not able to penetrate through. So if we use this chart right here, this is a physical deflection threshold for all ships. The number that we saw earlier is 223 hit points, which means below this number, 315, all the other ships, the Inferno will be able to damage and possibly destroy. Starting from the Anvil Asgard, also the Paladin, Valkyrie, MSR, Redeemer, Retaliator, all the Connies, Hermes, 400i, Corsair, and all the rest. Compare this with 4.8.3, the current live. The alpha damage for the Inferno is only 292. After the shield deflection, only 120 hit points will bleed through. And in that case, 120. So the Inferno won't be able to damage the Apollo Medevac, MSR, Valkyrie, Paladin, and Asgard. So basically, with this change, these 5 ships is added into the damage pool for the Aries Inferno. This might not seem to be significant. However, in a lot of the combat situations, what you do is that you use your missiles first in order to bring down the deflection threshold of the enemy ship. For example, the Ironclads, the deflection threshold is 315. So if you use your missiles to bring down these deflection threshold, and then you can use the Inferno's ballistic gallon gun to damage the armor and the hull and thus destroy the ship. So this change will make this practice a lot easier because the increased alpha damage for this ballistic gallon gun. Now let's test it. First ship, the Origin 600i, its armor deflection threshold for physical is 315. So if I shoot at the ship right now, you can see my weapon is deflected, not able to damage its armor. So I'm gonna shoot some missiles. Fire.
Target friendly.
And now try. Still deflected.
Friendly.
Fire more missiles. And now,
Friendly.
there we go. So a few missiles hit after we brought down its armor's deflection threshold.
Target
So now
friendly.
we can damage the armor and the hull of the ship. Using the new hit marker system, you know exactly where you're hitting. Next ship is the Ironclad Assault. Its deflection threshold physical is 331. So again, I'm gonna fire some missiles.
Front crash close.
And now try shooting. There we go. Just 8 missiles.
Target friendly.
Now I am able to damage the Ironclad Assault. So this change
Friendly.
made the Inferno a lot more effective against the bigger ships, especially the bigger deflection threshold.
Friendly. Friendly.
Even when the enemy ships have full shield, as long as you can hit your missiles, bring down its deflection threshold, you will be able to damage its armor, especially penetrate into the components of those ships. Let's try this, because in my previous video, we talk about the penetration value of this gun. So,
Friendly.
yeah, I am damaging the components with a new hit marker. And one power plant is down.
Target friendly.
Wow, look at that. Super effective. Now, of course, in real combat, the enemy ships are moving. But this change makes the Inferno a lot more effective, a lot more deadly, especially against the bigger ships. Next ship, the A90 Jump. This ship has a physical armor deflection threshold of 405. So it's going to be even harder. Now, fire missiles.
Target friendly.
Okay, try again.
Target.
Not yet.
friendly.
Fire.
Target friendly.
And these are size
Alert.
3 missiles. Now, try again.
Target friendly.
Wow, still not able
Alert.
to. Okay, fire more missiles.
Crash close.
There we go. Try again. There we go.
Friendly.
Wow, that did take a lot of missiles. 16 size 3.
Target friendly.
And now I am able to damage the A90 Jump. But where is the power plant of the A90 Jump? Oh, this is not a gold standard ship. Next ship we're gonna test is the Polaris. The Polaris has an even higher armor deflection threshold of 495 physical. So I'm gonna fire all my missiles first.
Target friendly. Missiles empty.
That's it. That's all my missiles. Let's try. Oh,
Target friendly.
still not able to. Okay, so in that case, the last thing you can do is simply ram into that Polaris. After ramming into that Polaris, let's try again. There we go.
Friendly.
And now
Front
we
crash
can damage So let's go directly for the power plant. The shield is on for the Polaris.
Target friendly.
With the new indication, now we know we are
Target friendly.
hurting the power plant.
Target friendly. Target friendly.
Yep, didn't take long. Power plant is down. And this is the shield generator. The red, oh, there we go. The red cross marker indicates the component damage and it's down. Also,
Alert.
the turret's inside before it gets deployed.
Friendly.
You can damage it and destroy it. So there we go. This is truly a shift of power. In my opinion, this is a pretty good balance, making this ship more combat effective without making this ship too overpowered. So what do you guys think? Thanks for watching.